Welcome back, kings and queens. It's your returning champion, Notorious MSG. For today's Molly lineup guide, we'll be going over Haven, next part in our series. So sit back, enjoy, and let's begin. Alright, starting off on Haven A site, we're going to go with our standard default plant. This one,
plant the spike.
You can modify depending on where you plant it, but they're all generally the same. You just have to kind of tweak it about an inch or two. So for that spot, first one we're going to go with Sandbags. Okay, this will be your marker. So you're going to go for this if you are a little bit closer to the left, and go for this if you're a little bit closer to the right. So it's up your Molly icon. You're going to line it up right there.
Molly!
This one's going to go up, bounce, and land right on top of the ball. Okay, I'll show you the other one just to give you an idea. So I'm going to be looking at this one now, and this one will be more towards the right side. I also have another one. If you're planning a little bit closer to the left, it's a little trick shotty. I'm working on it as well. So this will be your marker. With the left side of the HUD.
Molly!
Shoot that one. This one's gonna fly up. Gonna bounce off the slant. Fly around top of the Alright, okay, so for our next position, we'll be going top of the barrel. Alright, so I'm gonna jump in here. So, same landmark, this little pillar, but we're gonna be using the line between Stim Beacon and Molly icon. Either way works on either end.
Molly!
To be honest, nothing really changes.
Molly!
Kinda just whatever one's easy to remember is the one you're going to use. It's going to bounce, land right on top of the ball. Nice and simple. Alright, for our next lineup, we're going to be moving on from Wheelbarrow, and we're going to go towards a garden in this corner right here. Okay, this little slab that sticks out is going to be your landmark. We're going to use a line between Molly and Smoke.
Molly!
We're going to fire. This one is going to fly through the sky and land right on top of the bomb. Please use this one in conjunction with your ultimate or if you have comms, because you cannot hear the bombs if they tap it for defuse or not from here. From a garden, we're going to
spike
the spike there. We're going to swing our way over to mid. I use this one to counter Molly, where let's say they're pushing a pace short, a long, and my team needs help. I'll jam myself in the mid corner right here, just to kind of Molly off default to give us some time. But this is going to be your marker, okay? So you're going to look up, you're going to crouch, you're going to take the left end of the squiggle to the right corner of the coin.
Molly!
You're going to fire. Land and hit right on top of the block. Once again, I use this to stop them if they're rushing to get the default plant delayed a little bit. You could also use this if you're going to rotate through mid to flank your enemy. Okay. Then from mid window, we're going to go into B site. This one was kind of one of the ones that got me started in the lineups. So with this box, you're going to aim yourself in the middle of this line, run into it. Okay. This is going to be your landmark. Alright, we're going to take the tip of the Molly icon, put it there. Very important, you have to hold crouch.
Molly!
And fire. It's going to fly through the window, bounce, and land to cover default. Okay, this one also used to counter off rotates, pushes. If I don't feel like running up mid, I'm not feeling too hot that day, I'll go from there to kind of assist my team. Alright, so after that one, you can jam yourself into this barrel right here. Okay, this whole thing will be your marker for various lineups if you're going in a straight line. But for a default plant, we're gonna go in the middle of this metal piece. Okay, if you're a little bit closer, you go to the very tip. If you're a little bit farther, you go to the very bottom. But we're gonna go to the middle. Okay, so take the tip of the left side HUD, place it in the middle, and fire. Bounces and lands on top of the wall. Nice and easy. We're going to be going into this corner here, so we're going to be playing at a link. Let's say you're playing mid, you don't want to run up, and you wanted to kind of wait it off, you don't want to shoot it off just yet. This wall will pretty much be how you're going to get the Molly to default. I'm going to go here, fire it off the wall, bounce, and land. Nice and simple, very easy. If you're in a rush and you have to, you know, catch them as, like, let's say you planted, your teammates are dying, and you're like, crap, I gotta run up. You go up here, fire, and you can push with it, and they'll have to get off the bomb. Nice and simple. Jumping from this corner to this box. Alright, we're gonna be using this, the middle of this bar as the landmark. Take the tip of the left HUD and fire. This should bounce off the top box and land right on top of the bomb. Very useful if you know that they're rotating through a long, a short, you plant, you gotta run off, and you kind of want to play post plant. You just run here, hide, and fire. This one is a sky molly, so it gives you some time to rotate. Use it with teammates. You know, mollies don't really work by yourself. You kind of need a team to help coordinate it. Alright, and then last one for this default spot, just a very simple, you know, the enemy team's pushing and you gotta stop them from planting. If you aim anywhere on this box, it's gonna land default. Alright, that covers default plant spot for A. Let's move on to our next spot. Our next spot from here
got the spike.
Is we're gonna go into this corner.
Spike drop.
Open plant. This is planted for long and a little bit of short. This one is a very nice plant to have if you can coordinate it with your team. Okay. So for our first spot, since we know the bomb is right there, we're going to take the tip of the smoke icon, put it into the corner of this window. Very important, you're going to have to jump and shoot.
Molly!
If you don't, it's going to hit the roof of the building. It's not going to be a fun time. So you jump and shoot, it's going to bounce, and then on top of the bomb. That corner not feeling very optimal, we go back to our wheelbarrow again. And using this corner as our landmark. Take the tip of the left icon,
molly.
You're gonna fire. This one is very direct molly, lands off the back wall, and burns the molly. If you want it to be trick shotty, there is a variation. I'm gonna jump in here. We're gonna be using this as our landmark. Tip on my icon,
molly.
And fire. This one will bounce off the slant and ride its way over to the bomb. That one gives you a little bit more time to run up to it, gives you a little extra seconds to delay, so kind of play with it however you like. You know, the situation always evolves as you're playing. A quick one I forgot to mention is, you know, normally people do play from here to kind of peek the bomb. You jam yourself into this corner, and look at the corner of this brick. Line it up with the line between molly and smoke,
molly.
And you're gonna fire. This one is just very direct, and you just want to cover it right away. You're gonna bounce and bomb. Nice and easy. Alright, going from A long, we're gonna go back into A garden once more. Like I said, teamwork is always key. We're gonna be using this as our landmark. Okay, so take a line between stem beacon and molly, place it right up there at the corner.
Molly.
You're gonna fire. This one flies up, barely misses the ledge, bounces under, hits the window, and lands right on top of the bomb. Easy day. You're trying to be a nice little sneaky rat. You wanted to rotate through mid. You tell your team, hey, don't face anything. I'm playing lineups. You're gonna jump yourself to mid. This will be the landmark. Take the smoke or stem beacon icon, layer it over the box, and fire. You let them know that it's coming. Your team will stall as long as they can. It's gonna bounce, land right on top, smooth. Let's say that spot wasn't what you want to do. Maybe you want to be up closer to the action. You know, you're like, man, I don't want to play there. It takes too long to rotate. So we're going to be going up through mid. And going into our little corner. Okay. And from here, you want to hit that back corner. You're going to aim at this line between the paint. So white and yellow. You're going to line it up with the tip of the left side HUD. And fire. This one will fly up, bounce, and land. Nice and simple. Okay, moving on from that corner, we're gonna go back into our box again. Alright, your landmark's gonna be this pillar, right above this middle one, and you're gonna be using this dark spot as your landmark. So take the left dot of your smoke icon, place it right on where the corner meets the wall,
Ollie.
And you're gonna fire. It's gonna fly up, hit, and bounce off the back wall. Alright. this one is if you want to work with teammates, you kind of want to flex on people. This one is a very superficial lineup. Don't add this to your repertoire unless you know you want to practice and try to show off. But you'll be using where this line meets the building. Okay, line up with the line between stim beacon and molly. You're gonna line it up right at the edge of the building where it meets the paint.
Molly!
You're gonna fire. This one you cannot hear anything at all, but it's used to kind of just, you know, flex. It's very fun, just to kind of show how much you know about lineups, to show them that you're much better, you're built different. All right, moving on from
Spike drops.
Open plant.
Got the spike.
We're gonna go to under heaven. This one's a really good plant to have if you are defending from long. So we're gonna go there. All right, from back corner, starting at a long double stack. We're gonna using where the cement meets the wood. You're gonna aim the left part of your HUD. You're gonna hit the point where that part meets, and then you're gonna jump and shoot.
Molly!
This one flies up, hits the back wall, and covers the whole plant. Okay. Moving on, jump into this corner. Alright. We're gonna be using the left corner of this window. Tip of the smoke icon.
Molly!
Jump and shoot. Bounce, back wall, cover bomb. Okay, going back to wheelbarrow. As you can see, there's like 3 or 4 lineup spots. You want to mix it up. You know, I love tricking people. I love when they run out long and I'm not long. I love when they run out mid and I'm not mid. You're gonna see this little gap right here in the building, right? This little triangle. You're gonna take the Q in your molly and place it in the center of that.
Molly!
You're gonna fire. This one will bounce and land directly on top of the ball. Nice and smooth. All right, moving on from long, we're gonna go back to garden. Once again, you're gonna be aiming at the. You're gonna be using this as your landmark, but instead of using a marker, you're just gonna aim at it. Okay.
Molly!
Fire. It's gonna barely go over the ledge, and this one's gonna directly just land backside to cover the whole ball. Going back to our trusty A-team hold up, I'm gonna play lineups. Let me rotate from mid and go back to window. Okay. Same landmark as before. Take the zipper molly icon, aim it at the point of that top right corner,
Molly!
and fire. This one will fly up, bounce off the box, and land right next to the ball. Easy day. Alright, you rotate through mid, you want to play from a link instead. We'll be using the same building. We're going to be going from where the paint meets. You're going to line up the line between molly and stim beacon.
Molly!
And you're going to fire. Right on top of the ball. But let's say that's not good enough. You want to flex on all your friends as you're playing with them, show them how much of a Brim main you are. You're going to be using this where this pillar meets the roof, so it's going to make a T. You're going to line it up with the line in your molly icon, so you're going to make a little T yourself.
Molly!
And this one's going to shoot. Up and over, lands right next to the bomb. Alright, that covers all of under heaven. Next, we're going to go to
Plant a spike.
backside. Alright, moving on from under hell, we're going to go to
Spike drop.
plant. So first one, it's going to be next to this box again. You're going to be using this pillar as your marker. We're going to aim at the halfway point. So you're going to crouch, take the left side of the HUD, or the line between stim and molly, my apologies, put it in the middle,
Molly!
and fire. This one's going to go up, land, right on top of the ball. Okay. From our flex spot, you're going to go under the X. You're going to be using the tip of this window. Take the left point of your HUD
Molly!
and fire. This one's going to go through the tree, bounce back sight, right on top of the bomb. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to go into spawn. You know, it's always good to be multifaceted. This is going to be your lineup where the slant meets the middle, or your landmark, my apologies. Use the left point of your HUD.
Molly!
No look either. Alright, boom, bounce, and cover bomb. Once again, that covers all of A's site. And let's move on to B. Alright, B only has 3 spots you can
Right here.
really plant with lineups that are semi-safe. So we're just going to go through
Spike
it.
drop.
So for middle of the site, you're going to fall back into mid. You're going to jam yourself into this corner. This is your landmark. So take the triangle of your molly icon
Molly.
and shoot it. This one's nice because you can swing out mid and just peek them. So it's going to bounce. And land on top of the wall.
Got the spike.
Okay. We're going to be covering
Spike
the
dropped.
left side plant. This is usually the normal default combined with the sage wall. So you can go back to the same spot.
Right
jam
here.
yourself in this corner this time. And this little slab where the 2 slates meet is going to be your landmark. Take the left end of your HUD, put it in the corner,
Molly.
and fire. This one's going to fly up, bounce, and cover left side of the ball.
Got the spike.
Alright, and then last but not least,
Spike drop.
right side plant. We're going to try to do this all in one take. You're going to jump over, you're going to run back into your spawn, okay? Jam yourself in the corner. This little leaf is your landmark. So take your line in your molly, put it at the very top to kind of make like a little square with it. I usually line up the left side of the line with like this little corner. Right there.
Molly.
Fire. This one will fly up, bounce, and cover right side ball. Alright, that covers all of B site. Not very flexible, not very fancy, but it gets the job done. Let's move on to C. Starting off on C, we're going to go to our default plant spot. There's going to be a couple from C long here, so we're going to go to this corner for our first one.
On my mark.
Corner of C long. You're going to be using this as your landmark for your bounce molly, and this will be your landmark for your sky molly. So for your bounce molly, just aim right above it
Molly.
and fire. It's going to bounce off the wall and land right on top of the ball. This one I do have some issues with because sometimes it'll catch on a ledge, so I try to opt for other ones, but this is if you need a quick molly to go out. Okay, for your next one, this will be your icon or your landmark. Line up the left side of the HUD
Molly.
and fire. This one's gonna fly up, bounce, and land right next to it. Moving from back left corner, we're gonna go over here. These flowers are a pretty commonly used lineup in a lot of other characters, and I used to use it on Viper. So we're gonna line up here. Okay. This pole is your landmark. So you're gonna take the left side of the HUD, you're gonna scoop it or caress it, and you're gonna fire.
Molly.
This one will land about in the middle of all of default and cover pretty much the whole thing. Yeah. So from that spot, the nice thing too is like, let's say your teammates plant and you kind of need to adjust on the fly. All you have to do is just kind of adjust it left or right. So like, let's say I wanted to get it deep in the default, I'll probably move it about that much.
Molly.
And this would fly up, hit the back wall, and land directly next to the ball. So you can always adjust these on the fly once you play long enough. Alright, going from C long, we're going to be going into C main. You're going to go on top of this little signpost. Okay. This will be your landmark, this little gray flag at the corner. So take the tip of your left HUD, put it on the corner of the flag,
Molly.
and fire. One goes up, bounces, lands right in the middle sight, covers bomb. The next one I use is a personal favorite. Calvin uses it a lot, and I've kind of adapted it because I love planning, running long, rotating through garage. Usually enemies just kind of wait for long because that's typically where most people play lineup, but this one's a really nice one. So we're going to be using the point of this little corner post here for default. Take the tip of the molly icon, line it up, and we're going to
Molly.
This one is pretty fast, it just lands immediately. It pops, and they can't defuse it. Alright, last one is more of a counter molly. If you're playing B mid, you know, I love to counter molly to kind of delay. You're going to jam yourself in this corner. This little post that juts out is your landmark. You can aim a little bit to the left of it, but I like to crouch in order to shorten the distance and not have it bounce too much. You're going to crouch
Molly.
and fire. This one goes up, bounces off the box, and covers default. This forces your enemies to plant off, so they'll have to go plant long, they'll have to plant somewhere else. It delays you just enough to get some rotates in or make them hesitate. For our next molly spot, we're going to right about here. So rather than default, we're going to go out more to the open. It's to kind of let long and cubby peek better, and you know, also put more pressure on your enemy. All right, so for our mid default plant, we're going to be using this as our landmark. You're going to take the curve of your left HUD, line it up at the very corner of that, and fire. This one's going to fly up, bounce off the back wall, land right on top. Continuing from C long, go back to our flower lineup. Okay, and remember earlier we used this, so we're going to continue to use that. But in order to adjust, so instead of doing this for default, we're going to just use the tip for where we're going. It's going to fly up and land directly next to the bottom. Moving out of C long, we're going to go back to Signpost again. So this one has two variations. It depends on which one your brain registers quickly. You know, for me, sometimes I'm feeling pretty one-headed, can't think, so I just kind of do whichever one's quicker. So one line up here. So same deal. Left HUD, fires. Lands right next to the bomb. Variation, if you can remember, sometimes different landmarks make a lot better sense to people. We'll be using this green spot right here, like the corner of the green on the flag. Take the tip of your molly icon, and fire. This one's a more direct lineup because it lands right on top of the bomb. But you know, you can play around with whatever you like. Going back to my favorite rotate spot, we're going to go through mid again. Always got to be a rat, always got to be elusive. You're going to line yourself up with the middle of this pole. And instead of using this, because this is what we use for default, we're going to use where the grass meets the tile. Right about there. Fire. I love doing this, shooting that, jumping into the garage, letting it land, and then holding the long push. And boom.
Spike drop.
Right, so for long plant, most of the lineups we just went through, we'll cover this. For example, like let's go into our little 2 leaves or 2 flowers here. If you aim at the tip again, so that tip, it's gonna fly. It's gonna land relatively close to the wall. It'll push people off. I don't see a problem with it. It'll still reach, adjust accordingly. Another one that would be helpful would be this one. Aim at our leaf again. And fire. So you don't have to adjust too much. However, there is one really nice lineup that I have from B site. This one was shown by Calvin. I like using this one to really just show off to people. But you'll be using this beam as your landmark, tip of this right here. And you're gonna have to practice this one a lot because it may go completely wrong and bounce off platform. So we're gonna shoot it. It's gonna go through the window, bounce off the roof, land right next to the ball. It's a very nice lineup, so if you want to practice that one, I would give it a shot. Alright, moving from the C-long open plant, we're gonna go back to double stack. Okay, I'm gonna go back to our couple lineups back at C-long. So jump back in this corner. We're gonna use this as your landmark, where the 2 pillars are connected. Take the tip of your left side HUD, place it there. Molly! This one's gonna fly up, land in front of double, stop the defuse. Next one, we're gonna jump into our 2 flowers. Line up against the 2 flowers. Same pole, but this time instead of the tip, we're gonna use the very bottom where the wood meets the roof. Tip of your left side HUD. Fire. This one will land in front of double stack. Nice and easy. Let's go back to the same spot, but instead of going to 2 flowers, we go into a corner. Exact same marker. So we're going to line up our HUD like so, using the tip to kind of hug the pole and fire. Nice and easy. Alright, wandering out back to our signpost lineup. Okay, we're going to be using this as our marker right here. So take the left line of the molly line, like when you open up the hood,
Molly.
and fire. This one will land directly on top of the bomb. Cool. Being the rat that I am, as you always know, I love to roam around. So we're going to go out to our beloved pole spot, line up again, and we'll be using this as our marker right here, where the dark side of the bottom half of the pole meets the beam. Okay, we're going to use the line between stim beacon and molly.
Molly.
And we're going to fire. This one's going to fly up, hit there, and cover the bomb. Alright, last but not least, very niche spot, but you know, whatever works, right?
Spike dropped.
So
Spike here.
the spike's gonna go here. We're gonna run CT because we know that they're coming from C long. You're gonna run back into their spawn, jam yourself underneath the pole. This is gonna be your landmark. Put the tip of the left HUD
Molly.
and fire. So we're gonna fly up, crash around top of the bomb as you push through spawn. Alright, that wraps up all of Haven. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that A site had a lot of them, B and C don't have as much, but you know, I'm always theory crafting. If you ever want to come talk about it, come hang out in Discord. Please let me know if any of these work. I appreciate making these. I really hope that they do help someone. If you ever have a clip or anything, feel free to show me and I'd love to watch it and enjoy with you. But once again, have a great day, guys. Happy belated Valentine's Day or Singles Awareness Day, however you want to celebrate it. Your boy Notorious is out. Peace out, kings and queens.